Okay, let's start to talk about what is LCLC. So whenever you talk about SDLC, we have to understanding about in the SDLC we have the first step. It is nothing but requirements gathering. So the requirements gathering, we are going to collect all the requirements from the client, and we're going to prepare something. It is called as a SRS documentation. SRS stands for the SRS stands for the software requirement specifications, or we can say that software requirement analysis document which we are going to create, where exactly it is going to be helped to make understanding about how we are going to create this particular SRS documentations. So when you create this SRS documentation software requirement specification document, here in this documents, we're going to clearly mention about what is exactly requirement from the client. So once we have done with the requirements gathering, then we go with the design phase. So in the design phase, you are going to design the prototype of the applications. So whenever you're discussing about the prototype of the application, we have to understanding about what exactly mean by a prototype of the application. So whenever you talk about the prototype of the application, we have to understanding about the how the application is going to behave, how the application is going to be work, what is the flow diagram, that everything it is going to be designed here. See, we have a different kind of architectural levels we are having right now here. So we have an architect team available to make this decide that whether we can go with this monolithic application, whether we go with the microservices. If we go the microservice application, what are the different kind of challenges you're going to face? Simply, if you want understanding about what is design in general was in layman language and layman terms, for example, you have the site. Let's for example, you are having 1500 square feet we are having, and you want to build a house, a 2 BHK house. How we are going to build it? So you are going to first, you are going to plan for architect. So you're going to approach the architect who is working in a civil department, and you're going to explain your requirements, like how many bedrooms we required, what is the kitchen, what is the hall you required. You are going to ask them to design this particular house construction. They'll come up with a neat plan, like where the bedroom will come, where this kitchen will come, where the living room will come, how much space you're giving for the balcony, how much space you're giving for the playground. Like that, each and everything they'll come up with the plan. That is what we can call it the a blueprint of the design, right? So when you look at the blueprint, you will understanding about how the application is, how this your house is going to be constructed. The same way you are trying to understand about in the software also we have something it is called design. The basically design it is nothing but the how we can able to design your applications. This is what we can call it a prototype of the application. So once we have done with the design, we have to go with the development phase. So what is meant by development phase? Development is nothing but how we are going to actually bring the implementations. See, we have the requirements, we have the designs, how we want to design the application. Now we want to develop this application. How we can develop the application? See, whenever you want to develop the application, we need a software development team. So we have the software development team. See, it could be any requirements. For example, if my client would like to specifically go with the Java-based application, he want to go with this Python, you want to go with this Go language. So which are the programming languages he has chosen? We have to go the specific programming languages. So this is what basically we have to understanding about what is meant by software development. So we have dedicated resources. The basically it is going to be help that how the software application is going to be developed. So once we have done with this software development part, then we go with the testing here. So testing it is all about, we are basically concentrating two things. The first one is nothing but how your application is going to be work. That means first whether you are the meeting the client requirements or not. That is very first and basic requirement from the basic requirement, which basically we have to check that with application working properly or not. And the second portion is nothing but you are trying to find out the bugs in the application. So for this, we are going to perform the functional testing, and you're going to perform the non-functional testings. These are the two types of testings we're going to perform, and you are going to perform the testing over here. See, basically, you are going to perform two types of testing. One is the functional testing. One is a non-functional testing. See, functional testing, it is all about, it is basically going to check the behavior of the application. See, for example, when I click on the login page, it is when I provide the username password is going to be stored, or how the application is going to be. So that is everything it is going to be checked by using this particular application right now. So when I will just go to here, we can just look at my screen. when you just go the non-functional requirement, you are basically going to check something. It is call it as a something. It is we have to understanding about non-functional testing like load testing, test testing, regression testing, performance testing, all this different kind of testings which we're going to perform by using the non-functional testing here. So once we have done with this functional testing, non-functional testing, that means your application is good to go right now. And if it is approved from the testing team, if it is working fine, then what we can do? So we have to definitely, we are going to provide this implementing. That means once we have done with the testing, we have to understanding about how we can able to perform the deployment. See, deployment is nothing but how you are going to how you are going to install the application in the production servers. In the production servers. This is what basically we have to understanding about what is meant by application here. So we have this particular production servers where the client having dedicated servers. In this particular servers, we are trying to install this application. This process, what we can call as a deployment process. Now, finally, we have to go with the maintenance. See, once we have deployed the application in the servers, my customers, or we can say individuals, will start using my application. End users are nothing but we are all end users, right? For example, you go with this Google, you're trying to flip Flipkart.com, you're trying to browse Amazon website, you're trying to browse the Myntra. So you are going to browse different kind of like, for example, you're going to purchase any item, you're going to go with the any kind of e-commerce application. That means those who are using this application, that is what we can call as end users. So whenever you are facing any kind of issues, you're going to contact to the customer care, right? So that is what we can call as the maintenance of the application. Say, for example, you're watching Geo Cinemas. There is IPL is going on. So when there is, look at the IPL, there is a huge drop is coming towards my Geo Cinemas, right? Whenever the Geo Cinemas coming towards the IPL, I mean to say those who would like to watch any movies, any IPL matches, they have to log into the Geo Cinemas. They would like to access the application. So we have to understand that how much CPU utilizing my servers, how much memory utilizing my servers, how much stuff is coming towards my servers. That's everything we have to understanding about when you just go with the maintenance. See, once we have done with the maintenance here, so once we have done with the maintenance, you're facing any kind of problem, basically it is comes with the maintenance monitoring. So if you want to implement all these things in a structural order, we have to follow something, it is called as a methodologies. So here the methodologies, I think you guys are aware about and you heard about somewhere. Whenever you want to develop this any kind of application, definitely we have to follow some methodologies. So what exactly mean by methodologies? We have to understanding about right now. So methodology is nothing but a structured format, how we are going to follow the process. Whether I have to go with the first requirements gathering, or whether I have to go with the design phase, or whether I have to go with the development phase, or I have to go with any other phase, like when I go with the testing phase. For that reason, we have to go something, it is called as a methodologies. So whenever you talk about methodology, here we have to understanding about there are different types of methodologies available in the industry, software industry. Like the first, we had to understanding about waterfall methodology. And after that, we'll discussing about what is meant by agile methodologies. So these two things are very, very important. From this is the where we are going to draw the conclusion of why we require DevOps. So concentrate here and try to understanding about what is meant by waterfall, the methodology. And second thing, we have to understanding about uh, what is meant by agile methodology. This is the basically we have to understanding about what is this methodologies. So when you talk about waterfall methodology, we have to understanding about what exactly mean by the waterfall methodology. See, this is what we can call as a waterfall method, or we can say nothing but waterfall, the methodology. So when you talk about waterfall methodology, it is nothing but a linear, the sequential model. It is a linear sequential model. So when I talk about linear sequential model, here we have to understand it is going to process the step by step. It is going to follow the further step-by-step process. That means the first, it is going to follow the requirements gathering. Then it is going to follow the design phase. Then it is go for the development phase. Then it is go for testing phase. Then it is go for deployment phase. It is go for the maintenance phase. So whenever you go with any waterfall, when you look at the water flow, how it is, water it is going to be flow. The water is always going to flow from top to bottom, right? The same thing. Whenever you look at the waterfall method, it is all about, it is going to be follow the step-by-step process from the top to bottom here. That means first, it is going to follow these methods. Whenever we have go this waterfall method, we can look at here first. It is going to be have the requirements analysis. Then we go for the design. Then we go for this particular implementation. Then we go for testing. Then we go for the deployment. Then we go for the maintenance. These are the different kind of, this is what we can call as a waterfall model. You look at the diagram, you look at here, it is going to flow from the top to bottom. So once we have done the requirements, then only we go for the design. So once we have done with the design, then only we go for development. See, once we have done with the development phase, then only we go for the testing phase. So without completion of any of this particular phase, our product will not move on to the next phase. That is what basically we have to understanding about what exactly mean by a waterfall methodology. So waterfall methodology, it is very important for us, and we have to understanding about how this particular the methodology we have to understand right now. So in this olden days, everybody is using this particular waterfall methodology. So whenever you are going to use waterfall methodology, there are some challenges you are going to face. What are the different types of challenges you are going to face whenever you go with this waterfall methodology? That's we are going to discussing about right now. So anyone aware about what are the disadvantages about waterfall methodology? Yeah, any answers from anyone? Okay, let's try to talk about what is the disadvantages when you go with this waterfall methodology. So whenever you just go with this waterfall methodology, we have to understanding about these points. The first point which we have to understanding about, so it is there is a dependency between each and every phase. So what is meant by dependency here? That means, see, every phase is depending on the other phase. That means first when I complete the requirements gathering, then only we go for the design team. Until I completed design here, I don't go for the development phase. Okay. And if you just go to the, if you complete the development phase, then only we go with testing phase. So once we have done with the testing phase, then only we go with the deployment phase. See, once we have done with the deployment phase, then only we go with the maintenance phase. So without completing this particular without completing this one particular place, we are not moving to the other phase. So that means the development phase is depending on designing phase, testing phase depending on development phase, deployment phase depending on the testing phase. These are the different kind of phases available. So whenever you look at my screen, this is one of the disadvantages, right? And for example, when you want to make the changes, so whenever you would like to make the changes in this particular any of the phase, it is difficult to make the changes in this particular changes in this particular requirements. So that means, for example, we have the requirements. The requirements already I have given to the client. So when we have the requirements, if we given to the client, we have to understand that when we start to develop the product, there is no chance that adding the changes in the requirement, adding the changes, or if you want to make the changes in the product, it is not possible. Adding the changes in requirement is not possible. Okay. And it doesn't suit for the enterprise applications, nothing but large scale applications. Say, for example, you want to develop the Flipkart applications. If you want to develop the Zomato applications, you want to develop these, like for example, Amazon applications, you want to develop the Myntra applications. If you want to develop the larger scale applications, it's difficult to do that. So it is not suitable for the larger scale. It is not suitable for the higher scale applications. This is what basically we have to understanding about what kind of this particular we have to understanding about how we can able to do these applications. So when you go with the fourth step here, four disadvantages. So here is a very important point we have to understand about resource utilizations. So what is my resource utilization here? See, whenever you talk about resource utilization, we have to understanding about how actually you are going to design your resources. See, for example, we have the resources, right? Resources are nothing but employees. So for example, we have software development team we are having, and also we have, when I just go with the software development team, when I go with this, let's for example, testing team, every team we are having a group of people which is going to perform different kind of level of things it is going to perform. So whenever you go with this visualization, that means until development completed, a testing team doesn't have any work. Until testing it is done, deployment team doesn't have any work. Until deployment is going to be done, maintenance team it is doesn't have any work. That means here we have to understanding about how we are going to maintain your application. This is what basically we have to understand. Resource utilization is not properly done. It is. That's what basically we have to understanding about how we are going to perform the resource utilizations. So now if we just go to the fifth step, it is a very, very important step. We have to understanding about what is the fifth step it is. So fifth step, it is all about, we have to understand that how we are going to understanding about waterfall methodology. So whenever you go with this demo for the application, let's say for example, uh, let's say for example, you had done with these options. For example, I had done with the requirements gathering, I had done with the design phase, I had done with the development phase, I had done with the testing phase. So everything we have done right now, before you are deploy the application in the production servers, you have to give it the client demo here. That means we have to showcase to the client what we implemented, what we tested. See, this is what we can call as a review of the application, or we can say that you're going to test the application in the UAT environment. When you just go for the client review, so when the client checking the each and every functionality, how the application is going to work. So if it is not, he is not happy with the UI interface, or he is not happy with the functionalities what he implemented, then again we have to go back from the first step. That means we had to go with the redesign, we had to go with the redevelopment, and we had to go with the redeployment. So this is a different kind of dependencies which we had to understand. It is one of the best option. It is nothing but it is suitable only for the small scale application. It doesn't suitable for the larger scale application. These are the disadvantages we are going to get when you go with this waterfall methodologies. So anyone have any questions here? So now we'll just move on here and we'll discussing about what is mean by, we'll discussing about what is mean by agile methodologies here. So try to understanding about what is mean by agile methodology and why we are go with this agile methodology. That's what we have to understand it right now. So when you just go to here and try to understanding about what is meant by agile methodology and how it is going to be implemented. So when you just go with this agile methodology, here we can understand that. So agile methodology, it is one of the important methodology. Everybody is in this nowadays in the organizations. If you go with the top MNC companies, or if you go with the any kind of companies, everybody is using this particular agile methodologies. Now we have to understanding about what is meant by agile methodology first. See, agile methodology is nothing but it is a methodology. It is a project management approach that involves the breaking the project into the different phases. Breaking project into different phases. It emphasizes the continuous collaboration and it is going to be improve that. Okay. So here we can just look at my screen. It is Agile methodology is a project management approach. Okay. That involves breaking the project into different phases. Like we know that how many different kind of phases we are having, and it is going to emphasize a continuous collaboration and improvement. That is the reason Agile it is what we can call as a continuous iteration, or we can say that a continuous improvement. So try to understanding about what basically we are going to follow this particular Agile methodology. So when you just go with this Agile methodology, here we can just look at this diagram here. We have we just look at here. We have the requirements gathering, we have design, implementation, testing, maintenance. But what makes the difference between the waterfall methodology and Agile methodology? If you look at this waterfall methodology diagram, here you look at this particular Agile methodologies. The first we are go with this analysis, then we go to design, then we go with the development, we go with test, and we are going to deploy this application. So again, if there is any backlogs are there, again we are going for this particular, again for analysis. Try to understanding about what is basically Agile methodology. So in the Agile methodology, we're going to follow two things. One is nothing but a sprint, and second one is nothing but the scrum here. So we have to understanding about what is meant by sprint and what is meant by scrum here. So we have to understanding about these two things. What is a sprint and what is the scrum methodology? So sprint is basically we have to understanding about how do you are going to, how we are going to perform the, or how we going to implement this application. See, for example, when I take the Flipkart application, the Flipkart application has going to be divided into the number of modules. For example, you take this user interface module. We have to understanding about user interface module. The second one, we have to understanding about the, we have to go with this user interface module. And the second one, we have to go with this login module. And there are different types of modules we are having. So we can go with this payment module. Okay. And also this, if I just go to here, I can go with this cart module. I can go to the orders modules. So the application has divided into the each and every application has different modules. So whenever you have go with these modules here, we are going to decide that which the module will go first. Because we have a software development team and testing team, all the teams are going to work together till the application is going to be completed. See here, it is not going to work like it is going to work independently. But when you go with this Agile methodologies, here all the teams are work together. All the teams are going to work together to complete the product. So here, look at here in the sprint one, we'll take one module and we are trying to complete this. So basically the sprint life cycle, it is basically we are having 2 weeks. That means 15 days of the sprint. So like depends on the requirement, the sprint is going to be defined, but actual, whenever you talk about the standards, it is nothing but 2 weeks of the sprint here. So now try to understand here, this is nothing but Agile methodology. So we are trying to plan the releases as per the, we have to go with the sprint here. In the sprint one, we'll plan the release one. Sprint two, we'll plan the release two. Like we are going to plan the clear-cut application development process. Here, for example, when I just go to the user interface, I'll implement the first phase. So before you are going to deploy the application, before you are going to the next phase of development application, we have to go with the, we have to go something, it is called review here. Look at here, we have the plan, design, develop, testing, develop, and we are to go with the review here. So review means we are going to showcase to the client what we implemented. If the client is come up with any changes, it is basically depending on the client feedback, depends on the client feedback. So whenever you just go to the review here, you are trying to talk about how we can review the application. So whenever you go to review here, and once review is completed, we are going to launch your application. Like we are going to follow this a different kind of phases of the sprint to develop this application in the sprint model. But here, there are some disadvantages we have to understanding about. What are the different types of disadvantages you're going to face when you just go with this particular Agile methodologies? There are things we have to understand about. The first one is nothing but the entire software industry has divided into two things. One is nothing but a dev team. One is nothing but operations team. So I'll just draw the conclusion here, why we are require the DevOps here. So whenever you just talk about what is DevOps, you go with this, like, development team, there are different responsibilities, right? The first, we have to understanding about the planning, then we have to design, then we have to go for the coding, then we go for to testing here. So whenever you go with this operations team here, basically, we have to understanding about how we can able to go with this option. So whenever I go with this operations team, this basically they'll focusing on the deployments. They'll we go with this monitoring here. And whenever you go done with the deployments, then we go with the monitoring, and they are going to maintain all the servers. They are going to maintain the servers. If you go with the servers here, there are different kind of servers they are going to maintain, and they are going to manage in the infrastructure. They're responsible for the backup the data. They're responsible for all these things. So look at here. We have these are the different teams we have available right now. Like we are go with this planning. We had to go with the design. We had to go with the coding, and we had to go with the testing here. And look at here, operations team is responsible for the deployments, the monitoring, maintenance, infrastructure. They'll taking care of the backup. So whenever you are working in a dev team, this is what we can call dev team. And this is what we can call as a operations team. Ops team, what we can call as a operations teams. So whenever you have these two teams, so whenever you have this application, you are once we have done with the testing here, you will send this application to the operations team, so that operations team responsible for the deployments, right? So they'll set up the infrastructure. Once they set up the infrastructure means they will create the networks. They'll decide that which storage they have to go, and they'll try to install all dependencies. So they are going to first setting up the infrastructure. On top of it, they are going to deploy the applications. This is what basically we have to understanding about how we can able to manage your applications. So whenever we have to deploy the application, let's for example, operations team trying to perform deployment in the my production servers. So when we have to deploy the application, we have to understand about what challenges you're going to face. So the application source code, whatever it is working in my mission, it may not be work on your missions. So that is what we can call as a portability of the application. The first problem, it is nothing but a portability of the application. You are not give a guarantee that your application is going to work clearly on the mission. It is what we can call as a portability, where the application is going to work properly or not. This is what we have to understanding about portability. The application which is working on my mission, it may or may not be work on my production servers. If it is not working properly due to some reasons, I'm sending back to the development team. So testing team saying that, hey team, I'm trying to deploy the application is not working fine. So this is something which we have to understanding about how the blaming it is got happened whenever you go with the dev team and the operations team. So try to understanding about there are some challenges you're going to face. What kind of challenges you're going to face when you just go with this particular IT industry, and how we can able to resolve these challenges you are going to learning about right now. So whenever you just try to understanding about the what are the challenges you're going to face, and how we can able to overcome those challenges. So there are two categories we are having, like we have a dev challenges and we have operation challenges. So developer challenges is always depending on the code, right? So waiting for the code deployment. So when I done with the code deployment, then only I can able to understand about whether my application working clearly or not. That means waiting for the code deployment. If my code is working fine on the dev environment, so you are trying to understanding about how the application is going to be work. So second point, we have to understanding about the pressure of work on hold pending a new code. That means whenever you have done with the current task, then only we can able to go with the next task. That means it is backlogs are going to be very high. So whenever you are trying to, you are not going to clear the backlogs, it is not possible to move to the next phase of the development life cycle. So we have to understanding about waiting time for the code deployment and the pressure of work on hold pending on the new code. So this is what is the main challenges we have to understanding about when you go with the dev challenges. So when you go to the operation challenges, see for example, you take this Flipkart application or you take hospital application or Geo Cinemas. See, these applications are working on hundred of servers. So you have to taking care of all the servers. You don't want to get application downtime. So how we are going to taking care of all the servers? How we going to perform the monitoring? So that means it's difficult to maintain the uptime of the production environment. So it is difficult to perform or it's difficult to go to the uptime of the production environment. And tools, what are the tools you are going to using, like, to automate the infrastructure, we have to go to the option name. It is called as the tools to be automate the infrastructure. So it's difficult to automatically how it is going to be understanding right now. So whenever you just look at here, tools to automate the infrastructure. That means whenever you want to create servers, so manually you don't need to create. So I want to some tools to automate to create infrastructure. Whether I want to create networks, inside networks, I want to create my servers or where deploy my application. Definitely, we have to go to this option name. It is called a tools. And if you go to the something, it is called as the number of servers. So to be monitor. So that means if, for example, if you have 100 servers, you have to taking care of all the 100 servers. That means whether servers are working properly or not. This is also one of the biggest challenges which we have to understand that the number of servers to be monitored, it is going to be increased. And the second point which we have to understanding about difficult to diagnosis and to provide the feedback of the product. That is also is one of the biggest challenges when you just go to the operation challenges. You see that these are the different types of the challenges we are going to face. To overcome all the challenges, what is the solution over here? So the challenges, whatever we have discussed right now, to overcome all the challenges, we need something. It is called as a DevOps in the market. See, DevOps is not it is not a programming language. It is not a scripting. It is a methodology. We have to understand about what is mean by DevOps first. See, everybody will talk about DevOps is a combination of development plus operations. But we should understanding about what actually will DevOps will do that. See, DevOps is nothing but it is a combination of a development plus operations. But more than that, we have to understanding about it is a methodology. It is going to combine the software development plus operations team. So try to understanding about what exactly mean by DevOps and how the DevOps is going to be going to help for us to improve the continuous deployment. You see that DevOps is a combination of culture philosophies, set of practices and tools. So it is methodology. Whenever I say it is a methodology, it is nothing but it is a philosophy which we are going to follow to bring the best in the industry. For that, we are going to use set of practices and we are going to use set of tools. Like you're going to use different tools, like you're going to see about what other tools you're going to learning about going forward. So it is going to be increase our organization's ability to deliver the applications and the services at higher velocity, evolving the improving the production at a faster phase. See, this is what is the main reason every organization are adopting the DevOps methodologies. See, believe or not, DevOps guys are getting more salaries compared to software development team. So why? Because see, for example, if the DevOps engineer is going to put 3+ experience, he's getting 12 lakhs per annum. So how it is happening here? That is what we have to understanding about what exactly mean by DevOps here. So you'll understanding about why the organization are paying the highest salaries for the DevOps guy. So it is going to be increase in organization ability to deliver the applications and the services at high velocity, evolving and improving the product at a faster phase. So third point is nothing but it is going to enable the organizations better serve their customers and compete more effectively in the market. This is what basically we have to understanding about the DevOps is all about. So if you want to understanding about simply DevOps, DevOps is all about is a combination of a development plus operations. It is going to use different tools to automate different process. So you are going to learning about right now what DevOps is going to be focused. See that there is a different things we have to understand that. So DevOps is basically going to focus on three things. The first one is all about the communication. The second one is all about the collaboration. And third one is all about the automation. These are the three different things that is going to resolve by the DevOps. So this is what the major problem, right? See, if there is no communication between development team and operations team, my deployments will not happen smoother, right? See, operation team, it is going to blame on the development team. Dev team is going to blame on the operation team, because whenever you perform testing on the application, this application is going to work fine in my missions. If the application is working fine on my missions, we should understanding about how it is not going to work on the production servers, because it is a different environment. We are going to use different tools to deploy your application. That is the reason only it is not going to deploy the application in the production servers. So if you want to understand that one very clearly, we have to understanding about how this is going to be help for you guys. So the next 15 to 20 minutes are very important. It is very crucial for us. You are going to understanding about the what basically it will do for us. So whenever I just want to talk about the DevOps, as I said that it is nothing but different tools, right? So we'll see that what is the different tools are going to help for us to automate the complete the CI/CD pipelines. That is you are going to understanding about in this particular sessions. Let's click on the create new diagram. Click on the blank diagram, click on the create here. Now here, you have to understanding about the how we are going to create these particular charts. So I'm just going to use appdiagrams.net. So listen and stay here on another 20 minutes. You'll get the clear picture about what is DevOps and what exactly we'll be covering the course. And we'll see about what is the benefits you're going to get it. So now our job will start with the software development team. So this is nothing but we have a software development team we are having. We have the software development team we are having. When the software development team we are having, now whenever the software development team we are having, whenever I say it is nothing but team, it is a group of developers. Group of developers are going to work on different things. So whenever you provide some story, they'll read some story, they are trying to write a source code for that. See, whenever we have the software development team, they're going to push the source code inside the GitHub repository. This is nothing but my GitHub repository. See now, we have a software development team. They are going to push the code inside the code repositories. This is what we can call as the source code management tools, which is going to manage your source code. Now, like we have a GitHub, right? Like we have Bitbucket, we have a GitLab, we have a GitLab and we have so we have a Bitbucket, we have a GitHub, we have a GitLabs. So these are what we can call as the code repositories. So whenever I say about code repositories are nothing but where it is going to manage all your source code in the cloud. See, whenever you just go with the GitHub right now, it is going to manage all the source code in the GitHub repositories. So right now, whenever we have the source code in the GitHub repository, what exactly you are trying to do with the source code? Are you going to deploy directly the source code inside the servers? No. So before you perform deployment applications inside the servers, we have to do some kind of steps. That is, for that, we need something, it is called as a tools. So now, whenever you just go to here, whenever you try to understanding about the GitHub, it is nothing, but we have a code repositories. Now, all we have to see about there is something, it is called as a code quality we have to perform. Now, how we can able to check the code quality? Whenever you want to check the code quality, we have a DevOps tool. It is called as a SonarQube. We have a DevOps tool. It is called as SonarQube. This SonarQube is basically going to check the code quality. So why do you want to check the code quality? Code quality is nothing but, so whenever the software development team has pushed the code in my GitHub repository, as soon as they have pushed the code inside my GitHub repository, we want to check that how to perform this code quality. So why do you want to check the code quality? See, we don't know about where the software development team is getting the code, because all the software developers will write a code. No. So because some of the software developers, if they're not able to implement the logic, what we can do, they'll take this help from the Google, they take help from the Devin, or they take help from the Chat GPT. We don't know about which source they're using to develop the source code, right? So whenever we have the software development team, when the software development team has this particular the code quality, we have to check. Because so whenever the software development team is going to work on Java programming languages, or C++, or Go languages, or Python, if they use any kind of thing like code quality, whenever they use any of the programming languages, if you want to check the code quality, you have to be expert on this particular programming languages. Say for example, if they are written 50,000 lines of code, do you think really you can able to check the quality of the code? No, because it is very difficult to understanding about each and every rule set. And we have to identify that whether it is going to be checked each and every rule it is meeting or not. That is the reason as a human it is very difficult to do for us. But when you just go with this Sonar Cube, it is a tool. It is basically going to check the code quality. Inside the Sonar Cube server, there is something it is called as a Sonar scanners. Say inside this Sonar Cube servers, there is something it is called Sonar scanners, which is basically going to analysis of each and every code. So when I just go to here, when you talk about Sonar Cube, we have to understanding about what is meant by Sonar scanner here. See, Sonar scanner is basically going to scan the whole source code. It could be any programming languages. So it contains all the rules in the server. So for example, if I'm going to use C Java programming languages, it is having different kind of rules. If I'm using C++, it is having different rules. If I'm using Python, it is having a different rules. So it has to match all the rules. If any of the rule it is not going to match, it is going to mark as a bug. It is going to mark as a vulnerability. It is going to mark as a code smells. So it is very important phase of this particular DevOps. You have to check the code quality before you move on to the next phase. Now, once you check the code quality, then we have to understanding about how we can able to deploy the applications. So before you deploy the application, we have to understand about how to build the application. See, whenever you want to build the application, we are going to build the application by using a tools. So whenever you are going to use Maven, Maven is basically going to use a build tool. So it is going to work for the Java applications. Let's say, for example, you may have Java, you may have .NET applications, you may use Python applications, you may use Node.js application. See, there are different types of programming languages required, different types of build tools. Let's say if we go with the Java, we are going to use Maven. You are going to use .NET, we are going to use MS Build. If I are going to use Python, we have to use PyPI. If we go to Node.js, we have to use NPM. Like every programming languages, we have a different build tools we are going to use to build your application. So we have to understanding about how we can able to build your application. That is the reason only we have to understanding about say building it is nothing but the process of the compiling source code, and it is going to convert the source code into the mission readable format. That means what are the computer will understand will understand only zeros and ones. So it is going to convert the entire source code into the mission readable format. That is what basically we have to understanding about what is meant by the Maven. So Maven is basically what we can call as a build tool. It is going to convert the source code into the mission readable format. So whenever I compile the Java code, I'm just going to get the artifact. This artifact, what we can call it as executable file. Say, for example, if you want to install any software on Windows machine, you're going to download .exe files, .msa files. What it is, what we can call it as executable packages. The same thing, whenever you are going to compile the Java code, you are going to get the jar files and you're going to get the war files. See, war, it is nothing but a web application archive. It is something which we have to understanding about artifact. See, every source code or every artifact, it has a different versions, right? So if you want to manage all the versions, we need something it is called as a repositories. Now, if you want to store all the artifact, we need something it is called as a repositories. This is what we can call as a artifact repositories. So here we are going to learning about the Nexus. Nexus, what we can say, it is nothing but a artifact repository. Artifact repository. See, we can able to store any kind of artifacts. It may be a jar files. It may be war files. You are going to build a Docker images. Whatever you are going to build, all the artifacts you're going to store inside your Nexus repositories. See, there are different tool. Again, it is competitor called as a JFrog. See, JFrog, Nexus, what we can call as artifact repositories. So which is basically going to understanding about how we are going to deploy these applications or how we can able to store all the artifacts. See, once we have stored all the artifacts, now it times to deploy the applications. So how the applications are going to be deployed here, that is what everyone we should understand. See, previously in the olden days, we are creating one server, physical server, or we are going to creating a virtual machine. On top of it, we are deploying your applications, the artifact, whatever you generated. But now there is some problems with the go with the those technique. The technique what we have to see, it is not going to be portable. See, portable it is nothing but it is easy to carry everywhere. See, for example, you take earbuds now. It is having a small pouch where we can keep your buds and we can able to carry wherever you go. Previously, we are using wired buds, but now it is a wireless buds. If you try to connect your Bluetooth, it is going to be connected. You are trying to listen your songs. But now the same way, we have to understanding about how we can able to create a portable of the application and how we can able to reduce the cost and how to manage the resources. So this is three things we have to understanding about: resources, cost, and how we can able to manage the applications. That's what we have to understand about how do you going to create a portable of the applications. So whenever you would like to create a portable of the application, that is very important point. We have to understanding about it is all about the why it is came Docker and Kubernetes. So here, whenever you want to deploy the applications, we are going to use Docker here. So Docker is basically going to focusing about the containers. So whenever you go this right now in the market, everybody will talk about the Docker and Kubernetes. So in this course, we are going to provide the in-depth knowledge about the Docker and Kubernetes in the CK certification level. Now here, we are going to deploy this all the application in the containers. So whenever you want to deploy the application in the containers, we should understanding about how we can deploy these applications. See, that is the reason whenever the software development team has written the code, when you push the code into the GitHub repository, see, once you check the code quality, once you build the application, for this application, what we can do, you have to write a Docker file. See, Docker file is nothing but a set of instructions. It tells you that how we can able to deploy the application inside the container. Now we are going to build a Docker image by using a Docker file. Now this Docker image we can deploy inside the container. Okay. That means we should understanding about the how we can able to deploy this application inside the Docker containers. So now, if you, for example, if you want to go with this containers, there is something it is called as a microservices. You'll talk about in detail when you're discussing about Docker and Kubernetes. As of now, try to understand every microservice application is going to be Dockerized. It is going to be deployed inside the containers. Right now, container is like a virtual machine where actually you are going to deploy your application. Now here, whenever you deploy the application inside containers, there is some problems. See, whenever you have container, inside the container, we have a Docker image. This Docker image, what we can call as your microservice application. It contains all your source code. It contains all dependencies. It contains all the tools, all the dependencies, all the library files, what you require for the application. Now this Docker image, we can able to carry wherever you go, guys. So whenever I want to deploy this application in the dev environment, if one test this application test environment, if one test application UAT environment or production environment, we require to understand about how we can able to carry the application wherever you go. That is where we have to understanding about what is meant by Docker image. See, Docker image basically going to help you that how we can able to deploy this application inside this particular environments. So that is the reason only we can able to deploy this application by using a Docker containers. See, whenever the container, if it is lost, you are going to get application downtime. So if you don't want to get application downtime, we have to go with the Kubernetes. See, right now, I'll just give some of the examples. Like for example, if you go to Flipkart application, if you go to Amazon application, and if you go to the Geo Cinemas, right now, whatever the IPL it is going to be happen. And if you go to the Hotstar, so have you seen that when there is IPL World Cup, it is hosting, sorry, when there is a World Cup is hosting by Hotstar, have you seen that anytime your application is going to be down or you're facing any application downtime? No. But how do you going to manage this application? Because there are some crores of the customers are going to hit my application. That means if we look at the Hotstar statistics analysis right now, so there is a, if we go with this final or if we go with the semi-finals, there is a, try to understand that there is some, for example, 10 million customers, or let's, for example, 10 to 4 customers would like to accessing my application. So whenever the people are going to accessing your application, we should understand that how your application is giving response to each and every customers. So for example, when you go to Flipkart application, they will release some sales like big wheel and days, flash sales they're going to release. See, I think in the last week they have released the summer sales, right? Whenever you go with the summer sales or when you go with the big wheel and days, so we should understanding about what actually it is going to be happen. See, sales are nothing but they'll give some discount when they are going to provide some discount on this particular application, on this particular any kind of products. See, every customers are going to like to purchase the products by using Amazon or Flipkart. Whenever the more traffic is coming towards my service, my application, how we are going to perform the auto scaling, how we are going to manage the traffic, that everything it is comes under this vector picture, it is called it as a auto scaling. So how it is going to distribute the traffic, it is what we can call as a load balancing. So when you want to perform all these things, we have to understanding about how to do it all these things. That is the reason only we need the Kubernetes. See, you take Google applications, you take YouTube applications, you take Gmail applications, you take any kind of application which is going to provide by the Google Maps. So have you seen that anytime you're not able to access the any application? No, right? Until unless your network is slow, you can't able to access your respected application. Otherwise, I never heard in my 28 years of career, these applications are going to be down. So because all the Google applications are going to be used by the Kubernetes. You believe or not, all the Google applications are going to be using Kubernetes. That is the reason only we should understanding about the what exactly mean by Kubernetes, how the Kubernetes is going to work for us. That's what the way basically we have to understanding about what is meant by Kubernetes. Now here we have to understanding about the Kubernetes here. So what is the Kubernetes basically? The Kubernetes, what we can call it as a container orchestration tools, or we can say it is a container management tool. So it is basically going to manage all the containers without having any application downtime. So whenever you're trying to upgrade your application, even when you're going to upgrade your application, you are not going to get any single application downtime. So how it is going to manage without application downtime? That's where everybody is going to be behind the Kubernetes. So why the Kubernetes we go here? Kubernetes basically nothing but a container management tool. This is what we can call it as a container management tool, where it is going to manage all the containers. If any container goes down, it is going to recreate a same kind of container. This is what we can call a self-healing feature. So it is a container management tool. It is going to perform the auto scaling. Whenever there is a traffic, it is increased, it's going to increase the number of servers. When there is a traffic, it is going to decrease, it is going to decrease the number of servers. It is having a load balancing. Okay. And it is going to perform the auto scaling. It is going to perform the load balancing. And it is having feature, it is called a self-healing feature. If any application goes down, it is going to recreating the same kind of application. This is what we have to understanding about the container management tools. So here the Kubernetes is going to playing a very crucial roles. So if you believe or not, if you just go to any job description, which is going to provide by the LinkedIn, or if you go with any job portals, everybody's nowadays they're basically looking for the experts who is having very good experience on this particular Docker and Kubernetes. See, for example, when I just go with this popular DevOps engineers, if you just look at my screen, I will show you about what is exactly the requirement for this particular application. You see that first one is nothing but a configuration management, load balancing, networking, CI/CD pipelines, DevOps, and here. So when you just look at my screen, what exactly the requirements it is? So container orchestration. So utilize Docker for the containerizations and Kubernetes for the container orchestration to streamline application deployment and scaling here. So that is the reason only it is very important point is nothing but you should learning about how to create a CI/CD pipelines, how to deploy the application in the Kubernetes platform, how to use Terraform, how to monitor applications. Let's try to understanding about what is meant by monitoring here. Now you have deployed the application inside the Kubernetes platform. Application running fine. It is going to managing by the Kubernetes. But who is responsible for this monitoring here? See, monitoring it is all about we have to understanding about monitoring. So what is meant by monitoring? It is nothing but, see, whenever you have deployed the application, we should understanding about the how much memory it is utilizing and how much CB it is utilizing and how much top it is coming towards my server. And is there any chance that my application is going to be breakdown? So we need to perform the auto scaling or we need to perform the scale down operations. So that is what we have to understanding about the monitoring here. See, monitoring, it is one of the very, very important point we have to understanding about in the software industry, because every day we have to monitor applications, because we don't know about when the traffic it is going to be very high, when the traffic it is going to be very low, we don't know that. So we have to always focusing about how we can able to reduce the cost. So for that, we have to understanding about what is meant by monitoring. So if we are not going to perform the monitoring properly, the complete application is going to be breakdown. That is the reason only the monitoring it is going to be playing a crucial roles. If you want to monitor the application, for example, you have 100 servers out there in your Kubernetes cluster. How are you going to monitor all the 100 servers manually? It's difficult to do for us. That is the reason only. So we have a tool. The tool name it is called it as a Grafana and Prometheus. We have different types of tools available in the market. Like we have a Grafana. We have to understanding about what is meant by Prometheus. See, Prometheus is nothing but it is going to collect the metrics at where actually your application is running. It is running on your local machine or it is running on the cloud platform. It is running on the Kubernetes cluster. It doesn't bother about it where it is running. So if we have a Prometheus, it is basically going to collect all the metrics. So once it is going to collect all the metrics, we have to understanding about how to create a dashboards to see about the complete graphical user interface about your monitoring process. For creating dashboards to see the UI interface, we use the Grafana here. See, apart from that, we have a Datadog, we have New Relic, we have CloudWatch, we have Elasticsearch, we have Kibana. There are different types of the monitoring tools available in the market, but Prometheus Grafana has huge weightage and demand in the market. So right now we have seen that there is a GitHub repository. We have seen about SonarQube, Maven, Nexus, Docker, Kubernetes, and Prometheus and Grafana, right? So there are 7 tools we are talking about. So whenever you want to automate this complete process, so whatever I explain, it is completely is a manual process. But we should understanding about how we can able to perform the automation. So whenever you want to perform the automation, so we have to understanding about what is meant by Jenkins. So Jenkins is basically, it is going to useful for the creating the CI/CD pipelines. CI/CD pipelines are nothing but a continuous integration, continuous delivery or deployment tools. That means whenever we are trying to understanding about what is meant by continuous integration, continuous delivery or deployment process. See, we have to understand this. So whenever the software development team has pushed the code into my GitHub repository, I have to do it all the steps within the fraction of seconds. I don't want to wait for a longer time to check my feedback. I don't want to check that my application is going to work or not in my clusters. See, whenever the DevOps is came into the market, we are performing deployments directly on the servers by using DevOps methodologies. Now, if you just go to Jenkins here, by Jenkins, you're going to creating CI/CD pipelines. That means you are really having the Jenkins. In the Jenkins first, when the software development team has to push the code, my Jenkins will pull that code, is going to send it for the code quality. Once we have done with the code quality, my Jenkins will build the application. Once it is done with the building here, my Jenkins will will push the artifact, is going to be stored artifact in the Nexus repositories. Now my Jenkins will pull that artifact, it will deploy into the Docker containers. It is going to building a Docker image. My Jenkins will deploy this application inside the Kubernetes platform. My Jenkins will monitor my application by using the Prometheus and Grafana. Here we have to understanding about how to integrate all these tools with the Jenkins. That's where we have to understanding about the how do you going to create CI/CD pipelines. The creating CI/CD pipelines is one of the very demanded skill in the market. So we should understanding about how to create CI/CD pipelines. So when you want to create CI/CD pipelines, we have to understanding about Jenkins. See, manually we never going to create a pipeline. We will create a pipelines by using the something it is called as a scripting parts. Now here you will learning about declarative scripting part. We will see that how we can write declarative YAML files for the deploying this application inside the Kubernetes platform. Now, apart from these tools, there are some other tools available in the market. It is having more demanded. So the tool's name it is nothing but a Ansible. Ansible is nothing but a configuration management tool. So whenever you want to configure the servers, we don't require to configure the servers manually. If you want to configure your servers here, we have to understanding about the how we can able to configure the servers automatically by using scriptings. That is the reason we are going to understanding about what is mean by Ansible. So it is what we have to understanding about configuration management. See, we got one client the last month where they have want to configure all the web servers by using this particular Ansible. By using Ansible towers, they want to configure this all the servers. So this Ansible having a lot of demand in the market because I don't want to do with this. We have to understanding this is spelling mistake. We have to understanding about the how we can able to configure all the servers by using this particular Ansible. So if there are 100 servers are there, we don't need to bother about it. We can able to configure all the servers by using Ansibles. Now there is other tool in the market is very demanded is nothing but a Terraform. See right now, if you go with any job description, everybody is looking for this particular Terraform. Why Terraform? It is very important for us because so before you deploy the application, we have to set the infrastructure. Nothing but tomorrow you will understand about how we can design infrastructure. So you have to create a VPC network. Within the VPC network, what we can say we are trying to create network. Within the VPC, we have to create servers. On that, we are going to deploy the applications. It might be clustered, it might be a server, EC2 server, whatever it may be. We are trying to deploy this application in the by using Terraform. See now, Terraform is basically what we can call it as a IAC tool. IAC stands for the infrastructure as a code. So what is meant by infrastructure as a code? So what is meant by infrastructure as a code means, so whenever you write some code, when you run that code, it is automatically going to be deployed application inside your automatically is going to configure your servers by using a code. That is the reason only we have to understanding about the what is meant by IAC. IAC stands for the infrastructure as a code. So whenever you want to automate any of the cloud, that means see for example, I want to automate the Google Cloud. I want to automate the AWS, or I want to automate the GCP. Or if you just go to the any of the cloud, so all the clouds we can able to automate by using this particular IAC tools. So it is having more demand in the market. This infrastructure code is called as a Terraform. So here you are going to write Terraform files to automate any of the cloud. For example, your client has to automate your cloud by using Terraform. It may be AWS or it may be Azure. So we can able to automate the complete infrastructure by using the Terraform files. Because I don't want to recreate it, or I don't want it to go to this option here. I don't want to follow the manual process. I want to follow the automate so that if anyone would like to rerun the same infrastructure, they can able to use the same code. They don't want depending on the human here. So this is something which we have to understanding about the what are the tools which we are going to cover in this particular course curriculum. You see that we'll be covering about the GitHub, we'll be covering about SonarQube, we'll be covering about Maven, we'll be covering about Nexus and JFrog, we'll be covering about Docker, we'll be covering about Kubernetes, we'll be covering about Prometheus and Grafana, we'll be covering about Jenkins, we'll talk about Ansible, Terraform. So as I said that you take any job description, these tools are very important if you want to crack the jobs. See that we require the Terraform to be installed. We should learn about how to provision the infrastructure, how to automate the infrastructure by using Terraform. We should learning about monitoring. Here it is basically you are going to use Prometheus and Grafana. And if you just look at here, we should understanding about the scripting to automate. That is the reason DevOps scripts and automation tools to streamline the routine operational tasks. You are going to learning about Jenkins over here. See, you are going to covering about each and every tool to become a DevOps in the needs. See, whenever you just go to here and I'll just, for example, if I just move on to this particular, any of this particular a tool. For example, if I just go to the site reliability engineers or DevOps tech lead, so you just look at what exactly they're looking for. See, 4+ years experience in DevOps here. But look at here, they should learning about any of this factor, like experience in Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins. Yes, we'll be covering in this course. You are going to learning about next, and you're going to learning about the shell scripting as well. And look at here, you're going to learning about AWS in the course. So to become a DevOps engineer, what are the skills you require? All the skills will be covering in this particular course curriculum. We see that you are going to learning about Git, you're learning about GitHub, and you are going to learning about Bitbucket. So look, this is what exactly they're looking for this particular job description, right? So if you just take n number of job openings, I don't mind, but everywhere the same requirement, you will see that same tool chains they're using for the DevOps here. This is for lead DevOps consultant. You look at here, they require the CI/CD pipelines. If you just come down, if you just see about what they're looking for this particular DevOps here. So that's they have to implement the AWS DevOps. The same thing you're learning about Jenkins, GitHub, continuous integrations. And you just look at here, you are understanding about waterfall methodology, agile methodology, and you're going to learning about all the things, whatever they mentioned about in this particular course curriculum. See, because see, as per the industry standards, only we design this particular course curriculum to give the best to the students. If you just look at my skill set, I would say if you just look at this particular job description here, what they're looking for this and what is they're looking for the DevOps. Continuous delivery experience in DevOps as well. And look at here, they're looking for this particular continuous delivery, continuous integration. And if you take n number of openings. I just look at here what exactly they're looking for this. DevOps CI/CD tools, the performing road tracking. And you see that there are a couple of openings. These are all recent openings, not the you see that it is going to be posted the recently. All these openings are very recently they have posted in the LinkedIn. See, if you just come down, you see that what is they looking for. If you just come with the GitHub, if you just come to the inspector cross organization skill set, and you see that what exactly they're looking for this particular from the candidates. So everywhere you can see that Kubernetes everywhere. So everywhere they will see about the AWS. So that is the reason in this course, what we have designed it is all about. Along with the tools, we'll be covering about the cloud as well. To become a DevOps engineer, definitely we should learn the cloud platform, any of the one cloud platform. That is the reason we're going to teaching about the Linux, and also we'll be covering about AWS cloud platform as well. So this is a complete 3 months course. See, we are not going to compromise in the time frame. It will be a more than 3 months. It will be a 3 months, but it is not less than 3 months. Because so we want to explain that very clearly each and every tool. That is the reason it takes time. So once you are going to complete the 3 months of this training, those who would like to learn some hands-on. So the complete training will be project based. We'll take some 10 microservices, 7 microservices. We'll take some 8 microservices. So you'll take some Java application, Node.js application. I'll tell you how to work in the real-time applications. But you are a fresher, you have some gap, and you want to crack the interview. But how we can do it? That is the reason only once you complete this particular training, we'll be providing the 3 months internship program. So where you guys can able to enroll for the internship. So it is a free of cost. We are not charging anything from the students. Those who are going to complete the course with us, for them only we provide the internship. So we are going to give some client projects. Dummy projects, we'll ask them to implement the CI/CD pipelines for the projects. So you are going to learn from the scratch how to set up the infrastructure. And I mean say how to create your VPC network, how to create subnets, how to create NAT gateways, how to create load balancers, how to deploy your cluster inside the VPC network. After that, how we can deploy the application, how to access it. Like this is the kind of architectures we have to learn. See, DevOps is not about learning tools. It is all about how we can able to design your own architectures. That is the reason we decided to go with this architecture level DevOps program. So here we are going to teaching that this kind of infrastructures, this kind of architectures. See, you take this Jenkins, how we can able to create this infrastructure. So whenever you want to deploy the application, this any of the cloud platform, first you have to understanding about these infrastructures. it's in the, see, look at here, the VPC, where you want to set up the VPC, how to create internet gateways, how to create routing tables, and which availability zones you want to set up. So from where to where application will flow from here, how we can design the CI/CD pipelines, that everything you are going to learning like in this manner. So we don't teach you the basics. We'll try to teach you the advanced level of the DevOps. That is the reason we are taking 3 months of this particular time period to teach you this particular complete DevOps. So the 3 months industry will be provided where you are going to learning about the how to work on this particular different types of tools in this particular DevOps platforms. Now, once we're done with this 3 months internships, then we while you're learning this course, we'll be trying you on the how to prepare your CV, how to attend for the interviews, and we'll provide the genuine job referrals. You're looking for the job change without charging anything. We are going to refer the jobs, guys. We are not charging anything from candidates to place you, because there are some consultancies, they're going to they will tell that 100% job placement. Once you enroll, they will say that we don't have any like connect to the job consultant. Right now, we don't have any job openings. That's the stories they will tell. But we are trying to collecting the job referrals within our circle to that, or else we are trying to provide the freelancing opportunities where you can learn and you can learn more compared to your job timings. That is the reason will be completely provide the job referrals as a free of cost. And if, for example, you are not getting a job, then what you do it? So that will suggest you go to the freelancer. Because I worked as a freelancer when I last year, so I know about how we can able to get a project as a freelancer. I'll definitely tell you that how we can able to get freelancer projects, how to work, because they will pay you hourly basis. We can earn more what you are getting salaries in the companies. So this is there are different opportunities, different ways you are going to show that to the students. See, our main intention is to train and we are going to support to the students. That is the reason we are starting with this DevOps here. So this is all about the complete uh, DevOps, the program. Now, if you have any questions, you can ask. Yeah, I'm just unmuted, everyone. If you have any questions, you can ask. So anyone have any questions here? Anuradha or Anil, Giri, and Janana, it's Madhu or Titan.
No, sir.
Any questions from Madhu or Girish? So the Krishnafarana, do you have any questions for me?
No, no.
Okay. So this is something which we have to understanding about the complete course curriculum. I'll forward the syllabus as well to everyone, and how many months course. As I said that it will be a 3 months course. Definitely, it is not less than 3 months because the first we started learning about the. You are going to learning about the first. I'll teach you the next basics first. After that, straight away we'll go with the DevOps tools. So here I'll just give a little bit AWS introduction, how we can able to create VPC. Here you're learning about VPCs and you're learning about the EC2, load balancer, auto scaling. Okay, this is you're going to learn here. So once you're learning about these things, then you are moving to the DevOps tools. So once we have done with this DevOps tool stacks, see here it is going to be learning about everywhere Jenkins. See, for example, if I am teach you that GitHub, plus if I teach you about the code quality called SonarQube, and if I teach you about Jenkins, we should understand about how to create CI pipelines by using Jenkins. Like that, whenever you complete each and every tool, we are going to learn about how to integrate with the Jenkins, how we can able to automate the complete CI/CD pipelines. So once you're done with the DevOps tools, Then we'll come to the AWS cloud. So in AWS cloud, you're going to learning about services. First, you are going to learning about EC2. You are learning about the VPC. You are learning about elastic load balancers. You are learning about auto scaling, and you are learning about the RDS. You are learning about the Route 53, how to configure your domains. Here you are going to learning about Route 53. So, and also you are going to learning about IAM. And in this IAM, you are learning about roles, everything you are going to learning about it. And you are going to learning about SNS. And also you are going to learning about the, let's say I forgot anything. So here, AWS DevOps also will be covering, like code commit, code pipeline, that is also will be covering about. So this is the complete stack. I'm just going to share the, I'm going to share the syllabus with you guys in the chat group or personally. Those you would like to see about syllabus, just ping me in personally. This is my WhatsApp number. You guys can always ping me for more details. This is my personal WhatsApp number, 85533, the 70865. If you guys ping me for more details, I'm just going to share. So tomorrow we'll be having technical demo session where you have learned today what is DevOps, why DevOps, and what are the tools we'll be covering in this particular course curriculum. But tomorrow session, you are going to learning about the actually how technically it is going to work. Tomorrow will be technical demo session because you should want to see my technical capabilities also. Definitely we have to attend tomorrow session as well. So please attend tomorrow session at the same timing. I'm just going to showcase one small cluster creation by using the networking policies. And after that, we'll deploy this application in the Kubernetes platform. We'll see that how we can able to access the application by the Kubernetes. Okay. That I'll show you that in tomorrow session. Okay. Yeah. This is all about today's session. If you have any questions, you can able to feel free to ping me. I can able to answer your questions. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you in tomorrow's session. Okay. Thank you very much.